did you do that?
This is one hell of a way to start my sort of new direction for content. Like, I ain't even gonna lie, this is a crazy poll for one of the first videos on this new sort of channel, on this new sort of path that I'm diverting towards. But no, seriously, I really like this game, like, a whole lot, and it's for reasons that both other people have said, you know, mostly content creators that are, like, trying to be contrarian and are like, well, this game was actually good, I think. And mostly just kind of my own personal reasons. It's not a great game by any means. Like, there are bits about this game that I genuinely don't like, this being one of them. Jesus Christ. The orthographic kind of view on things makes this game an actual nightmare to play, especially if you're trying to aim towards something that you know is there. But that was pretty good. That was a pretty good example of what I'm not talking about, actually, so maybe, you know, don't take my word for it. But no, I genuinely really like this game, and I know part of it is gonna be because I'm playing it on the thing that I'm playing this on is the Sonic Origins collection, Sonic Origins Plus, because it's got the, like, 12 Game Gear titles. To be honest, that was one of the main reasons why I bought it. £30 for, like, all of these, like, classic Sonic games, and I mostly use it to play this one, like, kind of shitty Game Gear title. So that's one hell of a way to spend my money. Don't trust me with finances. But no, I genuinely, I think one of the main reasons people hop on this game still, even though it's on, like, modern hardware, and realistically, there's nothing stopping you from, like, enjoying this game at, like, its peak. I don't get the double standard, because when Unleashed Recompiled came out, that was seen as, like, a huge deal. That was, like, the definitive sort of way to play Sonic Unleashed, because, oh my god, now we can play it at 1080p, 60 FPS, and I guess you could do that with Unleashed on, I think it was the Xbox Series S, I think, but it wasn't, like, on PC, like, native. Like, you couldn't run Sonic Unleashed at 1080p, 60 FPS, or you couldn't just run Unleashed in general without using, like, Xenia or whatever. I think it's a Xbox emulator, I assume, and even then, that had its, like, whole myriad of problems with crashing and the bunch. But now that Unleashed Recompiled is out, everyone's like, oh, this is, like, the definitive way to play Sonic Unleashed. Now we can play it in, like, its peak form. Now it's, like, amazing. But when you hear people talk about the Game Gear games and how, like, well, we've got them right now, granted, emulated, granted, soundtrack sucks ass. I'm not gonna like pull the wool over anyone's eyes. The soundtrack on this is not good. I don't like the soundtrack, or specifically, like, the instrumentation of the soundtrack. I don't fuck with it. I like the songs. I think the songs are really good, actually, but the overall, like, bit-crushed sound and the instrumentation of it all just does not work. It is bad. But outside of that, low-key, I think Sonic Origins is the definitive way to play Game Gear games like Sonic Labyrinth. At least in my opinion. I haven't played the other Game Gear games, so I wouldn't know for certain if it's the definitive way to play all of the Game Gear titles. But I know for a fact it's the definitive way to play this game, at least in my humble opinion, which isn't going to mean a lot to Sonic Twitter, so, you know, I may as well brace myself already. And look at that, by the way, I just absolutely destroyed that boss. This is one of the most, like, fun parts with the game. It gets a little bit difficult with the second and third bosses. Like, half of the bosses in this game are, like, really annoying to deal with. The only bosses that I, like, particularly really like, because I just get to bounce off the walls and, like, just do nutty shit, is the first boss and the final one. And even then, the final one I kind of had a bit of a hard time with. But that's neither here nor there. But I don't get the sort of double standard where Unleashed Recompiled can get like all this kind of praise for, oh, well, this is like the definitive way to play Sonic Unleashed now. But then when it comes to games like this, they're still bogged down by a lot of the problems that were only really present when people were playing this on like real hardware and like having like to deal with all of the issues that come with that. And I think it mainly comes down to that bias of like most people who talk about these games and, you know, consume media about these games don't actually play the games themselves. They just kind of listen to like some fuck-ass YouTuber talk about their opinions on it, and they kind of formulate, I wouldn't even say formulate their own opinions, it's just kind of regurgitated opinions from those YouTubers that they watch, and I'm not a huge fan of it. But you may be wondering, okay, why the fuck do you like this game then? Because I haven't really explained it a whole lot, and you're probably looking at me like, are you fucking crazy? This looks like abysmal dog shit. And you'd be mostly right. Big thing that I particularly like about this game, it gets momentum right. And I know that's such a fucking buzzword, like, momentum. I'm gonna start talking about muzzle curves and shit next, so brace yourself, Sonic Twitter, you're not gonna like that one. That was a deep cut, if anyone gets that, if anyone's been terminally online like I have. But, no, I genuinely think this game does something with momentum that most Sonic games don't really get the opportunity to do, mainly because they don't have the kind of story or the kind of gameplay that's being put on display here. Like, the big thing with the gameplay is that, oh, Sonic is slow, so he can't, like, move around really fast. He can't do the thing he's named after. Bad game. 4 out of 10 IGN, wouldn't play again. But no, I genuinely think that works in its favor because the spin dash really like incentivizes you to try and go fast. Like, even if you're being bogged down by the whole speed factor of it. And the timer especially pushes you even further because you got the timer ticking down. It's at like 1 minute. Like, you really gotta kind of like sort of conserve your momentum and like fly around the stage pretty much and like learn your way around in the little time that you have. And you can like collect keys and like kill enemies to like kind of like boost the timer a little bit. But for the most part, you are kind of running around like a headless chicken trying not to sort of succumb to the timer. And I think that's really fun. Because in a game where the whole gimmick is that, oh, you're slow and you can hardly move around, people don't really talk about the parts where you can actually go fast. And this is the part that I really like, this special stage thing. If you hold right and then A and B on the, for me it's my Xbox controller, but if you hold right and then A and B, it takes you to this switch, and then you can go and play a little bonus stage to get some extra lives. I really like that about this. This is like the one part of the game that I think is like genuinely kind of cool. You don't learn about it until after you've already played the game once, so you're kind of just like, unless you already know from like tutorials and shit, like about this thing, you're not really gonna be able to figure it out because it's just a really specific like set of buttons that you wouldn't think to press in that situation. This is gonna be the most like irritating thing to watch, by the way. I just barely get this last ring as I'm like trying to squeeze through because this is like this is the tightest spot possible because it doesn't, those two like sort of boost pads don't shoot you towards the ring, and then that bumper is a whole other can of worms that I don't really want to think about. I was gonna go back in and get more lives, but then I kind of just like rolled straight into the exit. We're coming up on the end of this anyways, so I should probably mention, no, I really like how you get to conserve your momentum in a lot of these stages, and you're incentivized to go as fast as you possibly can. Because that just, I don't know, that screams Sonic to me. Is it like a good Sonic game on the basis of, oh, you go fast and you grab ring and you do the loop-de-loop? No, not at all. It's a really bad Sonic game in that sort of aspect. Is it a good game in the sense that you get to like really prioritize momentum and, you know, speed even in a situation where you're not really going that fast? Yeah, I'd think so. because it incentivizes you to kind of like think outside of the box and think, okay, how can I fucking ricochet myself off of these walls in the most optimal way possible that gets me to the end the quickest. And if you've seen like speedruns of these sort of levels, then you'll kind of get what I'm on about as well. Like, this shit gets fucking nutty when you really get down to the nitty-gritty of it. When you get down to the nutty-putty of it. Sorry, I really like that term of phrase. I know nobody fucking says it, but I said it once, and it kind of just, like, it changed my fucking brain chemistry, dude. And I honestly completely forgot that I did that. I kind of forgot that I fucked up. Don't watch that part. It's fine. The later stages after this get, like, really annoying. There's some actually fucking heinous shit put in here. Whoever designed some of these later levels is actually a fucking evil, vindictive, tortured soul. I swear. But, no, it's genuinely fun when you try to get down to, like, the nitty-gritty of it, and you try to, like, force yourself to go fast, almost. Like, it gets really fun at that point. I don't know what I was doing then, but, you know. We take the small victories where we can. He got hit. We're fine, we're fine. But, yeah, no, genuinely fun game. I really enjoy it. I wouldn't be saying this if I just, like, hadn't played it before. I genuinely play this in my off time. It's so fun. But, yeah, it's so good, dude. It's so fun.